The next administration will be the one ultimately that implements a lot of the distribution of this vaccine and will oversee much of the future of the way Operation Warp Speed goes forward. Why not include members of the Biden transition team as part of this summit that you're hosting today?
Well, we're going to have to see who the next administration is, because we won in those swing states, and there was terrible things that went on. So we're going to have to see who the next administration is. But whichever the next administration is will really benefit by what we've been able to do with this incredible science, the doctors, all of the people that came up, the lab technicians. The work that's been done is incredible, and it will be incredible for the next administration. And hopefully the next administration will be the Trump administration, because you can't steal hundreds of thousands of votes. You can't have fraud and deception and all of the things that they did and then slightly win a swing state. And you just have to look at the numbers, look at what's been on tape, look at all the corruption, and we'll see. You can't win an election like that. So hopefully the next administration will be the Trump administration, a continuation, which has led us to the highest stock markets we've ever had, the best employment numbers we've ever had, a rebuilt military. If you look at the tax reductions are the greatest in history, the regulation reductions, the greatest in history. It leads us to Space Force, which nobody thought was possible. All of the things we've done, and we were rewarded with a victory. Now let's see whether or not somebody has the courage, whether it's a legislator or legislatures, or whether it's a justice of the Supreme Court or a number of justices of the Supreme Court. Let's see if they have the courage to do what everybody in this country knows is right. I received almost 75 million votes, the highest number of votes in the history of our country for a sitting president, 12 million more than the 63 million we received 4 years ago. President Obama received 3 million less in his second term, and he won easily. I received 12 million more, which, by the way, is a record, 12 million more. And they say that when the numbers came out, and the numbers came through machines, and all of those ballots were taken away and added. All you have to do is turn on your local television set, and you'll see what happened, with thousands of ballots coming out from under tables, with all of the terrible things you saw. All you have to do is take a look, and if somebody has the courage, I know who the next administration will be. And I'll tell you what, life will be much easier for this country because of what we've done right now. And because of a lot of the people in this room, the job you've done on the vaccine, together with a lot of others, has been a modern-day miracle.
If Donald Trump was any deeper in this state of delusion, I'm not sure he would even be conscious. Right off the bat, when he's confronted with the fact that the next administration, Biden's administration, will be the one actually distributing the vaccine, Trump digs in his heels on this baseless conspiracy theory that he won the election, and so he'll continue refusing Biden's team the access that they need. Now, two things about this. First, Donald Trump did not win the election. He lost by 7 million votes in the popular vote. He lost by a margin of 306 to 232 in the Electoral College. He's lost 50 cases in the courts to try and overturn those results. 50? And that's including the United States Supreme Court rejecting Trump's bid to block certification in Pennsylvania. So not only did he lose, but he lost overwhelmingly and decisively. Second, blocking the Biden team from talks on vaccine distribution hurts the entire country. 350 million people will suffer to protect Donald Trump's ego. 350 million people will be less protected, less prepared, and less safe because one small, petty man is too fragile to accept the fact that he's a loser. And here's the thing, he knows he lost. Republicans know he lost. The American people who haven't been thoroughly brainwashed by OAN and Newsmax know he lost. And so what this means is that we're going to be unprepared because Donald Trump decided to do some play acting. He decided to play pretend in the wake of 285,000 deaths, a number that continues to skyrocket by the day. We're in the middle of the fourth biggest mass casualty event in American history, and this is the time Donald Trump chose to traffic in fantasy. In fact, not only does Trump not regret his failure to contain this virus, he actually brags about it. Here's Trump congratulating himself on the fact that 15% of Americans have been exposed to coronavirus.
I think that the vaccine was our goal. That was number one because that was the way it ends. Plus, you do have an immunity. You develop immunity over a period of time. And I hear we're close to 15%. I'm hearing that. And that is terrific. That's a very powerful vaccine in itself. And just tremendous progress has been made.
And what he's trying to say is that 15% means we're that much closer to herd immunity. But herd immunity would mean that a staggering 70% of Americans had been exposed to the virus, which would mean millions of Americans would die. Even Sweden, ground zero for herd immunity, bailed on herd immunity because too many people were dying. And yet Trump was so intent on throwing himself a parade for the fact that people are contracting this deadly virus that was never contained, that he actually thinks our massive amount of positive cases is a good thing. That mentality is exactly why he is singularly the most dangerous individual to be in charge during this crisis. But here's my favorite part. In his reality-denying state, Trump goes on to explain that he won the election because he got 75 million votes, which is incorrect, he got 74 million votes, and says that it's more than any other sitting president. And so that's why he should win, because he got 74 million votes, as if how many votes the other guy got is of no consequence. Donald Trump thinks he should win because Donald Trump in 2020 got more votes than Donald Trump in 2016. And look, it does kind of make sense from his perspective, considering he thinks he's the only human being that matters in this world, but unfortunately for him, it doesn't work that way in a country where the moon and sun don't revolve around dear leader. And of course, his rationale for this is that there was widespread fraud, votes were added and subtracted, ballots came from out of under tables. Only here's the thing, if there was actually widespread voter fraud, or frankly any voter fraud, they'd have presented evidence of it in court. And yet Trump and his allies haven't presented even a modicum of proof of fraud in any of the more than 50 cases they filed. Even in Giuliani's highly touted fraud case in Pennsylvania that he whipped up support for at his Four Seasons Total Landscaping press conference, he quite literally told the judge, quote, "This is not a fraud case." The simple fact is that if there was actually any of the fraud that Trump is alleging here, his own lawyers would have probably acknowledged that. And the fact that they failed at a rate of almost 99% is proof that it doesn't have any basis in reality. And finally, he goes on to appeal to Republicans to help do his anti-democratic bidding, saying, quote, "Let's see if they have the courage to do what everybody in this country knows is right." Meaning that in broad daylight, he's trying to pressure state legislatures and even Supreme Court justices into undermining the will of the voters in a free and fair election to illegally install him as president despite losing. And not only that, it's a call to action to his supporters as well, who will then turn around and demand the same thing. Any way you cut it, it is likely the least democratic action ever taken by Donald Trump, which is saying a lot. What should actually be happening right now is that instead of blindly allowing him to continue his assault against this country, Republicans everywhere should grow a spine and decry this anti-democratic behavior. It's not just a matter of, oh, let it run its course and eventually he'll go away, because the damage that he's doing in the meantime by undermining trust in our electoral system for no reason other than he's not happy with the results is going to have far-reaching consequences. If we lose the ability to trust the results of our elections, we cease to be a functioning democracy. And the Republicans who are silent right now are making a conscious decision to allow him to keep doing that. If you like this video, please check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deep dive into the week's most important stories and interview major players in politics, including Kamala Harris, Katie Porter, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swalwell, Mary Trump, Al Franken, Cory Booker, and many, many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.